everyone, welcome to DIY with Nancy. Hope you're all doing well. Today I'm going to make a fresh custard tart. And when I say fresh, it's going to be made from scratch. It's going to be the tart, the custard, as well as the fresh strawberries with a nice glaze. It's an absolute highlight on the dessert table. Of course, it's very delicious, and I hope you stay with me to watch how to make my fresh strawberry custard tart step by step. First step, I'm going to start off by making the tart shell, and I'll be using my stand mixer, starting off with half a cup of sugar. And to that, I'm adding half a cup of unsalted butter at room temperature. I'm using my paddle attachment to do the mixing. I'm placing the mixer on high speed and let it mix for a good minute. After the 1 minute, I stop the mixer and I'm going to use a spatula just to remove everything at the bottom of the bowl and make sure that all the ingredients are incorporated before I add my next ingredient. Next, I'm adding 2 eggs. I'm adding 1 egg at a time, and I'm adding large eggs to this recipe. I'll be placing my mixer on high speed, and I'll be adding the 1 egg first. Now I'm adding my second egg, and I'm going to let that mix for another minute. While the mixer's still going, I'm adding 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. After adding the vanilla extract, I let the mixer go for another 30 seconds, and now I'm ready for our next ingredient. I have here 2 1/3 cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of salt into the flour. I'm going to give that a quick stir. And now I'm ready to add the salt and flour mixture into the batter gradually. Now let the mixer continue mixing until a soft dough forms. You can see that the batter has formed a dough and it's pulling away from the bowl, so you know it's ready. I'm going to show you what the dough is and what it looks like. It's very soft and buttery, and it pulls apart easily. Once the dough is formed, place it on your counter and form a disc, and place it in plastic wrap. Wrap it up and place it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes. After 30 minutes, I remove the dough from the refrigerator and I'm going to roll it into a 12-inch circle. Now this dough is very soft but easy to work with. Here I have an 11-inch tart pan. It's a removable bottom, and I'm going to roll the dough onto my roller. And like I said, it's very soft dough, so be very careful. Don't be discouraged. If it falls apart, it's not a problem. We can always fix that. And you can see that as I'm unrolling it, it is really soft. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to form the dough into the pan. I'm not going to stretch it. I'm just basically tapping it into the tart pan and using some of the excess dough and forming it onto the edges of the pan, just as I'm doing here. Now I did want to spend some time showing you how to actually make the tart. It's a crucial part of this fruit tart. And I'm just tucking in the edges to make sure that they hold together nicely. Now to remove the excess dough from the edges, I'm starting with my roller in the middle and rolling it. And you can see that the excess dough is coming out nicely. And don't need that. We're going to put that aside. And I'm just tucking in the loose edges of the dough and making sure it's formed nicely. Next, I'm gently using a fork to poke holes on the bottom of the tart shell. And by doing this with the fork, it basically just allows the steam to escape through the tart shell so it doesn't puff up in the oven. The tart is ready to go into the oven. I'm going to bake it at 350 degrees for 15 minutes. While the tart is in the oven, I'm going to prepare the custard. I'm starting off with 3 cups of milk, and I'm using 2% milk. And to the milk, I'm going to add half of a vanilla bean. I'm going to use the seeds, and I'm going to place them into the milk. So basically, I have a paring knife here, and I'm scraping the seeds, and that's like gold. So delicious. But if you don't have vanilla bean, you can use vanilla extract. Place the vanilla bean seeds into the milk, give it a quick stir, and leave it on low heat until it comes to a boil. Keep an eye on the milk, make sure it doesn't overflow. While I'm waiting for the milk to come to a boil in a bowl, I'm placing 4 large egg yolks. And to that, I'm adding half a cup of sugar. And you can substitute the sugar to sweetener. You just have to add 1 cup of sweetener. Stir together the egg yolks and the sugar. Make sure it's well combined. Next, I'm going to sift together 3 tablespoons of cornstarch. And I'm adding 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour. Next, I'm sifting the cornstarch and the all-purpose flour into the egg mixture. And I'm going to give that a quick stir. And it's going to be very pasty, but that's exactly what I'm looking for. Try to keep the flour in the bowl. Don't do it like me. You can see it's flying everywhere. And I'm just trying to make sure that it's all together, all well combined. Now my milk's bubbling. It's coming to a boil. I'm going to turn off the stove. And I'm going to slowly pour it into my egg mixture. You don't want to pour it all in there because you're going to have some scrambled eggs. So you're going to pour it in slowly and then gently stir it. And keep stirring it, making sure that the milk is getting incorporated into the egg mixture. And you're going to continue pouring the milk mixture into the eggs until your full milk has been combined with the egg mixture. Once you've combined the egg and milk mixture, you're going to pour it back into the saucepan. Now on low to medium heat, I keep stirring until the custard forms, and you'll see it will start thickening. Now you keep stirring, you can see the bubbles are forming on the edges. That means my custard is almost ready, and it's pretty much formed. So I'm going to keep stirring just a little bit, and then I'm going to turn off the stove and let the custard cool. Once your custard has thickened, remove it from the stove and place it in a separate bowl to let it cool. My custard cream is ready, and I'm going to place a piece of plastic wrap and tuck it into the custard just so it doesn't form a thick layer. Set aside your custard cream to cool. The tart is out of the oven. I've let it cool for about 15 minutes, and I'm just simply removing it from my tart pan. I'm just going to remove the bottom portion and place it on my cake plate. Here's the tart, absolutely perfect. You can see that it was a soft dough, but as you form the edges, as you can see I was working with it, the inside is just perfect. Now my custard is now cool, and the good thing about this is that you can pre-make this custard the day before, and the tart shell you can also make the day before, but just place it in the oven the day that you're going to assemble the tart. So here I'm just mixing together the custard, and I'm going to get ready to place it in the tart shell. Next, you want to place the custard cream in the center of your tart. I'll be placing all of this custard in this tart shell, but I start off with half and I spread it evenly in the bottom of the shell. Just make sure it's all covered, and I use a spatula to do that, and then I place the balance of the custard cream and spread it evenly. Here I'm simply using my spatula to create a nice flat surface to ensure that my fruit is evenly placed onto the custard. Here I have fresh strawberries that I've washed and dried, and I'm going to thinly slice the berries, and I'm going to cut off the 2 end pieces. Don't need that. I want to create some flat surfaces, and I'm going to show you how to do the first one. And I'm thinly slicing these strawberries. Cut the end piece, and I just want to create some flat slices, so flat surface for the berries. And I've used about 24 berries for this tart. So I've started placing the first layer of strawberries onto the tart, and I want to show you the second row. And as you can see, I'm slightly overlapping the berries on top of each other. And I'll be doing this for the second row, third row, so on and so forth. And you can design this any which way you'd like. This is the way I do it. Sometimes I place other fruit, but for strawberries, this is how I'd like to display it. For the final step, to prepare the glaze, you'll need 1 tablespoon of cornstarch and 2 tablespoons of water. Stir that together, and in a medium-sized saucepan, you add half a cup of water and 2 tablespoons of sugar, and stir that together. Now add the cornstarch and water mixture. Stir it together, make sure it's well combined, and add 1 teaspoon of corn syrup. Wait until it thickens, and here you have your glaze under 4 minutes. For the last step, I've let the glaze cool for about 5 minutes. Using a pastry brush, I'm glazing the strawberries on the tart. You want to make sure that all your strawberries are covered with the glaze, and it's just going to add that extra shine. And here is my custard tart with strawberries. Okay everyone, that was my custard tart with fresh strawberries recipe. I really hope you enjoyed the recipe. I just wanted to let you know that once you make the custard tart with the strawberries, just place it in the refrigerator a couple hours before you serve it. Hope you all enjoyed the recipe, and if you did, don't forget to like and subscribe. And until next time, thanks so much for watching. Take care.